folks. Plenty of things to talk about, but not really. Mainly going to dive a little bit into a little bit more Bloomburrow and Magic the Gathering Foundations. We are also going to talk about Path of Exile's Seasons of Calgar still, and we're going to talk about Diablo 4 Season 5. I've played these games for a week now, Path of Exile a little bit more, but first, as we always do,
my name is Dom Douglas, and I am back-to-back XWW Commentator of the Year. With that comes some responsibilities, but also a lot of fun and excitement, and I'm never ashamed to look like a complete fool. Speaking of that, I love playing Magic the Gathering, so much so that I kind of think I play it a little bit too much, and I have some opinions. So now, XtremeTVOnline.com and XWW Wrestling on YouTube presents my podcast where I talk about Magic the Gathering. It's the Goblin Grenade Podcast.
that is right. Goblin Grenade Podcast, folks, once again on Xtreme TV, YouTube channel XWW, supporting XtremeTVOnline.com, $4.99 a month. First 5 days are free. Check out some of the best wrestling action that you can. We are running weekly now at this point, moving forward into the future. So we doing some things right here. But this is the only podcast that is not wrestling related on the XWW networks. And it's about nerd stuff. Magic this week, Path of Exile, Diablo 4 Season 5. We're going to talk about those things. Want to get a little bit more into Bloomburrow real quick, which is quickly becoming absolutely one of my favorite Magic the Gathering sets of all time. Got to draft it again a little bit. Got to draft it on Arena and in person. It is a fantastic set. You can absolutely have the worst results possible. And I do have it, and I'm still enjoying it because the thing is, and it's still happening, even if your deck isn't really that good, you still get to play the game. And I think the key to this, and it is, has been the very limited bonus sheet. Normally, the last year or so, there's been a bonus sheet involved with every set that comes out in Standard. And it's a full sheet, which is like 36 some odd cards. And that's extras. And they're not Standard legal for the most part. And it really, I feel, has screwed up the draft environment quite a bit. Some more egregiously than others. Outlaws of Thunder Junction was an absolute horror show because not only did they have the bonus sheet, but they were planning on doing an Aftermath-like set called The Big Score, which Aftermath, March of the Machines Aftermath, was a 5 or 6 card pack that was sold for the same price as a regular booster, and it didn't do well at all, and there's 2 or 3 playable cards in the entire thing, and Wizards took a big L on that one, admitted their mistake, and said in Outlaws of Thunder Junction they were planning on doing the same thing. They've canceled that set coming out, the big, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, The Big Score, which was the epilogue to the story. It's just like Aftermath was the epilogue to March of the Machine story. And instead they said, we're just going to roll it in with Outlaws of Thunder Junction play boosters. And that caused Outlaws of Thunder Junction to be, for me, to be one of the most overtly complicated sets for no reason. If I draft Modern Horizons 3, that's going to be a complicated set. The barrier of entry. You need to actually be somewhat prolific in your Magic knowledge if you even want to have a shot at getting a competent draft deck, which is my favorite format. Outlaws of Thunder Junction was a Modern Horizons 3 level, if you ask me, difficulty curve for a set meant for point of entry. So for me, Outlaws of Thunder Junction was a really bad, overblown set that had way too much going on it. Now, Bloomburrow only had 10 cards of this nature, and they were all printed at Mythic, even if it was a common or uncommon, so you hardly see them in the draft environment. So you can actually draft the set proper, and I'm glad they did it because they crafted a beautiful draft set to the point that I'm going to buy a box at some point of Bloomburrow in the next couple of months, and maybe like another bundle, a gift bundle if I come across one, and kind of just do a cube of it. It is that good. It is that good of a set. And there's no rare lands almost for the most part of that tap for color. 3 Tree City is a big exception, and my beautiful girlfriend got me the winter version before it spiked in price, so thank you, babe. Love you. And so far the draft set is it's the draft environment is a blast to have. And in Arena, it's the same thing. Even in Best of 1, I've had decks that kind of, I puddled around a little bit, didn't see the signs from the left or to the right of me, just forged my own path, and still got to play the game. And sometimes, especially in Thunder Junction, it would happen where I would get lost in the sauce, if you will, and I didn't do anything in all the games. And I think that's more frustrating than anything else. And yes, I'm not one of those people that are saying, I love Bloomburrow because I'm winning all the time. No, I've got like a below 500. I'm winning about less than half of my games. I will spike and get like a 5 and 6 win under me, but those are rare. But I'm still having fun. I'm still having a blast. And I'm still actually waiting for a couple more packages for my standard deck. Yes, that's right. I'm rocking mice right now, and I'm still trying to figure out what directions I want to go in. I've got the base 43 cards almost, and between the stuff I already have, I might combine a couple things, because 2 years ago I bought a Prowess deck with Monastery Mentor, Monastery Swiftspear, and Kendra Spellslinger, and never played it once, but, I bought the deck for $12 on TCG Player. So I'm like, if I ever roll up into a standard game, I at least have something that's focused. And my focused deck that I got for this go-around on standard is Mice. Yes, Mice. I got 4 copies of Maribel, and I'm going to do some Mice shenanigans. So that's Bloomburrow. And then I'm going to touch... So that's my opinions on Bloomburrow, and I'm going to touch a little bit now on Foundations. Foundations is a set that's coming out in November. A couple cards have already been previewed, if not more. And the basis for Foundations is this set will be standard legal till, I think, 2029. And it'll be printed all there. And I think it's an interesting take. It is the point of entry. It is the replacement of a core set, if you will. It is the point of entry. But also, I feel, especially with 3-year standard now happening, they're going to print some things that they won't have to print again, like board wipes, and they won't have to waste slots on board wipes and card draws and pump spells and all that, because it'll be in Foundations. Foundations will be legal till 2029, if I'm correct. It's going to be a couple of years legal, and it's hitting all the points. It's going to hit some Commander stuff. It's going to hit standard stuff, and I think it's going to be a great launching point for new players. Will this set be draftable? I highly doubt it. I really do. But I don't think this set was meant for draft. I think this set was meant to get key pieces of things that the archetypes do, so they don't have to waste R&D on printing these cards. Like, your standard 1 blue mana spell, draw a card, surveil, or look at the top card of your library. Either put it in your top of the deck or put it in your graveyard and draw a card. The 2-drop 1 in a green pump spell, target creature gets +3/+3 till end of turn. The target black creature, the 1 through 3 drop mana spell, that kills this target creature. The white spell that gains life or destroys target enchantment or board wipes. The red spell, deal 2 damage. Shock will be put in there. Deal 2 damage to any target. So they don't have to waste that slot on new sets. That's what I think Foundations is going to be for, on top of getting a couple of cards reprinted that are desperately needing of reprinting, and making sure that you hit the standard and Commander player base. Will it be a draftable set? I doubt it. It could be. I could be very wrong, but it's got a steep hill to climb because Bloomburrow is just that damn good. I'm excited for Foundations. I know a couple other people I know that are barely playing the game every now and again are excited for it, because it is a theoretical core set, and that their favorite sets were core sets because it is the entry point. It's, they don't have that much time to dedicate to the game, and they don't need to, basically read up on everything, like kind of like I do. It's part and parcel of having a podcast. So there's Foundations. That's all I'm really going to talk about, because it's not coming out till November, and they really haven't said anything yet about the set in general, except that I have a feeling that that's what it's going to be. So now that we've talked that, and I'll briefly touch on the controversy from last week that happened after I had done recorded the podcast. There was basically at DreamHack or something like that, there was a single elimination tournament for a copy of Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual is a 1 black spell, 1 black mana, and it gives you 3 black mana to your mana pool. So you can just, for 1 spell, you get 3 mana. Well, the version that they had was one of only like 4 copies in existence. And this card technically sold, I think, later on for like almost $50,000. A player was disqualified going into the top 8 or in the top 8 because of collusion. Basically colluding with another player to say, hey, let me win this game. We'll split the prizes. You cannot do that in a competitive rules enforcement tournament. You can't even, like, when it comes to competitive REL, you can't even like joke with somebody about that. I was doing a RCQ one time, and I was 0-3 at that point, but I was still playing my games because I was like, I paid the $25 entry fee. I'm going to play some Magic. And, yeah, I know. I'm that guy. And what happened was me and another 0-3 player were just sitting there chit-chatting because we got our butts kicked in round 3. And I was like, hey, I'll jokingly said, I'll bet you even money it's me and you next round. And a judge heard me say that, and he's like, look, I know it was a joke, and I know it's y'all's first time at a competitive level event. I could technically disqualify you from the event for saying that. I'm not doing it. He was super cool with it. He understood what we were saying. I mean, come on, we were both 0-3. Prizes were not happening for either of us. But he was like, just in the future, keep in mind, you can't say stuff like that. So what was happening, so the one player basically accused the judges of screwing him over and doing him wrong, doing him dirty, not even taking his side of the story. He wasn't even part of the problem. And the judges were getting a lot of online hate, including one person who wasn't even judging the event. They got the name wrong. And this person was getting harassed online. And they weren't even there. So it forced not only the tournament organizers, but also the judges of the head judge of the event to comment on this as much as they legally could, and basically saying, you only got one part of the story. Hear what was really going on. And apparently in the gallery of attendees and in some player groups, like teams, were literally doing their best to get as many people in the top 8 as possible for their team to improve their odds by saying, when I sell this card, I'll cut you in 15%. And some audience members were even taken in the rake. They were even like, hey, I'll pay for your spot if you do this, or if you like drop to this player, I'll give you this if they win. So much apparent shenanigans was happening with that the judges just kind of had to like take a hardline stance on it. Now you can say what happened in the last round in the finals kind of proves the point, but why was this person targeted? In the finals, apparently, could be conjecture, could be just hearsay, more than likely, but from what I kept hearing and reading was that in the first game, you play till best of 2 or 3, or I think 3 of 5 in that event. The first game, it was a concede immediate before turn 1. Like turn 1 happened and it was an immediate concede. And usually that means the 2 players have already brokered a deal, which is highly suspect and also not part of the rules. You can't, like, I can say, if we draw, we'll both get in the top 8. Like, that's it. Hey, if you take a draw here, if we both take a draw here, we've both got enough points to make top 8. But if one of us loses, we're out. You can almost do that. But what you can't say is, hey, if we draw, or if you concede, I'll give you half my packs that I win. Can't say that. Can't say that at all. Can't cut prizes like that. Can't do anything like that. Basically, normally what happens, and this is not competitive level, but like when I've played Friday Night Magic and it's the finals and the rare times I actually make the 3-0 or 2-0 matchup, me and my opponent might just, will concede. One of us will concede, and then we'll split the prizes. So if first place gets 8 packs and I get 4 packs, then we both get 6 packs. But, whoever had the more, we may like play one game to see who gets the extra bonus promo pack or whatever. Or if there's 2 promo packs, we'll just do that. As opposed to going like 12 packs and 2 promos, you split, you get 6 packs guaranteed and a promo. You can do that at Friday Night Magic. It happens all the time. Especially if it's like a 4 or 5 round event and it's like 11:30 and you just want to go home because you're almost 50 and you're tired. But when it comes to like an RCQ or anything where cash money or tournament or pro tour aspirations are on the line, you can't do that. You can't. So who to believe? I don't know. I want to believe a little bit of both. I want to believe that the person might have said something to an audience member who wasn't even in the tournament and got caught saying it. And also because of the mass amount of collusion going on in the tournament between numerous, probably the entire field. The judges had to do something, and they made the right choice, but probably against the wrong person. But either way, don't give him any crap for that. Don't give anybody crap for that. It's not the time or the place for anything along those lines. But you just got to mind your P's and Q's when you go to a PTQ. And then now we're going to kick over to Path of Exile. Path of Exile Seasons of Calgor is probably their best season ever. There has been no drop-off of player numbers since the season started 2 weeks ago. It's in fact barely dropped at all. People are still logging in, people are still playing, and somebody like me is actually gotten it. Like, I've played a ton of Path of Exile. Since I started playing the game when it launched again, I started playing the game again when it launched on Xbox One, I've put in a significant amount of hours, hundreds of hours, and I'm finally getting the game. Yes, it's that complicated. This is the first time I ever hit level 90, and the level cap is level 100. Once you hit level 70, every time you die in, non-hardcore, you get an experience loss. You lose XP to your next level. You lose progress, basically, to get your next level. So I pushed myself to actually hit 90 for the first time, got the achievement, and then I saw the amount of the percentage of people who play the game who've actually gotten this achievement. The achievement is just hit level 90. 0.8% of the players on Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S get this achievement. Have this achievement. 0.8%. That's how hard it is to hit level 90. And if you just play non-league and hardcore, you can just, keep cracking at it and keep dying and whatnot. And you should, over the course of months, amass enough to get to level 90. And I've never been able to do it because I hit a brick wall around level 87. Especially during the endgame content. That's where I've hit the brick wall. This time, however, managed to do it, managed to get a proper build, but I'm stuck in between a Sunder AoE bleeding build, which basically causes bleeding to everybody. I jump around, I hit people with my big axe, and mass group of area of effect damage happens where they're all slowly losing life. And between that and the axe and shield version of just a lacerate bleed, which basically just attack everything, swath everything, and then just bleed much quicker over time. The problem I'm encountering is I'm hitting that part of where I've graduated high school and now I'm immediately jumping into a master's degree of complexity, when it comes to gear. I have no idea what gear is, or what good gear is, or what things I should be looking at. I've probably sold my fair share of expensive gear not realizing it. That's how complicated this game is. And I've been saving for a piece of armor that has 6 sockets in it that are all linked together. Basically, I can put a bunch of status effects on top of my bleed or the Sunder smash build, and finding the correct one, because I'm dog shit at making it. It's 20 minutes. I can swear a little bit. At making armor and getting into the complexities of like crafting armor and stuff like that. I'm bad at it. So I'm just trying to, take the easy way out and go for the auction, to the player auctions that you can do. And I can find some for a divination orb or two, but there's a little bit, something would be a little bit off on it. Like, it's not the correct numbers I'm looking at, or it's missing something called spell suppression, which in late game, you basically just swallow whatever spell gets casted at you. And I need a lot of it. And the key that you get a lot of it from armor, from the body armor that I'm looking for. And I'll have all those numbers except for that. And I can afford that. But I can't get the spell suppression. So I'm like, do I waste expensive currency in the game to buy something that's not 100% accurate and pray for the best? Or do I just hold off on it and just grind some more maps and grind some more endgame content and just wait till I find a piece I'm looking for? Problem is, I'm stuck in between both of those builds right now. I'm built out to either do one or the other at the moment. So what I have to do when I make that choice, make that call, I have to take points away from my junction board, basically, the skill tree. And those are currency that cost a fair amount. So once I make the decision, I have to undo some things. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's going to be my final version of this with the amount of time I play and my skill set. I'm having fun doing it, but I've now hit another wall in maps, which is considered the end game content. It's just dungeons, constantly new dungeons. We're running the same dungeon over and over again. And I'm at the point where I'm at the certain level of dungeon where my damage output is telling me I need the 6 link armor. Now, if I get the armor, it'll work for both builds. It'll work for both. But I have to make a call on what I do, because I only get one choice. If I do the Sunder Smash, Axe Smash build, for lack of a better term, I won't have to refund as many points. But if I do the quick massive bleeding area of effect, I have to refund at least, I think, 30 points. And I have enough to do that, but I only have enough to do that. So if I don't like that build, I have to buy some more currency to undo that and redo that. And I have all the gear ready. I have every piece waiting except for the belt, because the belt is the most expensive to find. On console, I think it's going for like 4 or 5 divines right now, which is the equivalent of like 900 chaos orbs. And you may get like a couple chaos orbs on a map run at the end of the game, if you're lucky. So I have my work cut out for me. But the thing is, I'm still having a blast playing it. And I'm still having a blast doing the town stuff, too. Now I've hit the part where all my boats get hijacked by pirates and I can't beat the Pirate King, so all my crew dies. So I have to rehire more people and lose everything I sent out, too. So I'm at that point where I have to make a decision. And I can't advance any further without making that decision. But other than that small little hiccup, this is the best season they've had. I've said it before that this should be called also bloatware the game, because there's so many different mechanics and there's so many different league mechanics that have kept over. This time, I'm not noticing any of it. Maybe it's because I actually was smart with my Atlas board build and just kind of prevented a lot of things from happening. I have blight encounters, which kind of is like the what do they call it? I knew the name last time. Anyway, it's just like a yeah, I'll figure it out at some point. But a tower defense. It's tower defense, and I kind of like it because now I have that proper build too with the rings and whatnot, and everything gets frozen, and I just kind of like slowly whittle the damage away. But I don't encounter interrogations. I don't encounter a lot of the other league mechanics, and there's only a handful of league mechanics. There's like delve, there's the bestiary, which I can't stand. There's the interrogations, whatever, like the June, that's the character's name, her quest line. I don't like that either. There's the pyramid tower. I forgot what the name of that is. The Atlas, no, not the Atlas. Where you get teleported to a room, and then you have to like open up another door by killing the boss and using that keystone it unlocks to unlock the next door. And then when you're done all the times you can do it, which is like 12, then you go into the castle, and you kind of have that layout that you've created with the paths that you've built. I kind of don't like that either. I don't like Sacred Grove. I don't understand it at all because the game does do a horrible job at explaining things. You have to look at the wiki, which is something. And mind you, the console community is way less than the PC version, the PC community. And the PC community apparently is a joy to be around. The console community, that chat is toxic AF, yo. They bring up some rancid BS, and I'm sitting there going like, why would you put that out in public knowing that Microsoft can just ban your account for what you just said, my dog? Like, it's some outrageous, out-of-pocket crap that they say. And I just kind of like just sit there and go, oh, wow. You actually had the balls to say that, folks. You put yourself out there. Now we all know not to talk to you ever again. But other than that, like, I'm happy that there's not as much content in the season, if you will, because the delve, you can get lost in delve. Some people do, and some people love it. You can get lost in the bestiary. Some people do that as well, and the grove, and the blights, and all these different things that can happen. But they've done a good job at taking out a lot of the bloat that I complained about. The other thing is, sorry, it's been 27 minutes of me constantly talking. The other thing is, they got rid of everything involving the last season, the Necropolis League, which basically, like, you found caskets, and then you had to like bury things and then fight the things that rose up and get better results. Yeah, they took all that out. They realized that it was their worst performing season in about 5-6 years, and nobody liked it. And the massive drop off, it was massive. We're talking New World levels of drop off. And now this season hit a absolute home run. The ball's not even out of the park. It went to a different state. That's how hard they hit this thing. And they needed it because the Necropolis League was crap. And that's when I was like, all right, let me get my foot back into it. And after a week of playing Necropolis League, I was out. So good job on Grinding Gear Games, Path of Exile. Remember, that game is free to play as well. Just like the first 5 days of ExtremeTVOnline.com. And if you want to continue it, it's $4.99 a month. But you will have to pay for stash tabs. At least one. Just pay for at least one stash tab. It's not that much. It's like $5. And that at least pay for a premium stash tab so you can at least auction some of the cool things that you get off, that you get with the game, like drops and whatnot. And you could just like at least start earning some. I've been playing the game for so long, I have a couple of premium stash tabs. And none of the cosmetics. I just went for stash tabs, currency tab, map tabs, that type of stuff. And I will say, like, I have a passive 1 Chaos Orb tab where I just have uniques that aren't really used as much, and they're only costing 1 Chaos to buy, and I've made so much Chaos, so much game currency just from that one stash tab. It's kind of funded everything else up until this point of me getting through this character and this league. But yeah, it's such a great job. And so, even still, there are some people that have played this game to completion, completing maps, completing the final ultimate uber bosses without putting a single cent in the game. So it is possible. Hard, but possible. And now we're going to go into our final topic of this podcast, Diablo 4 Season 5. Diablo 4 Season 5 is basically... it's Diablo 4 Season 4 with an extra mechanic added and an extra thing. Stand your ground, I think, type of gameplay where you just have to I don't know, you just kill things, and then when the wave is over, you have numerous waves, and when the wave is done, you get a boon or a bane, and you can choose those up until you get to like how many levels that particular encounter entails until you hit the final bosses, and then you beat the final bosses. Then you spend currency that you've earned in that wave mode, and get extra things. Season 4 is good. Season 4 was great. Loot Reborn was great, but this is Loot Reborn Season 2, I feel. There's nothing changed from the previous season. The quest line, however, was interesting. It was great. It actually opens up for the new expansion coming out in October. So if you want to know, if you're going to play when the expansion comes out and you play 4, at least play the quest line for this season. It'll explain how we get to the expansion. But I'm having an okay time. I like the XP gains. I like the fixes. I like the changes. I don't like some of the uniques that drop. I think you get them way too fast. I always start new character, World Tier 2. I've been playing this game for 500 something hours, if not more, since launch. So World Tier 1 doesn't exist to me. World Tier 2 is where I start. And then I'll hit like level 50 or something like that, have kitted out, and then I'll go into World Tier 3. And then I hit like level 70 on accident in World Tier 3. Now I'm in World Tier 4. I was getting uniques in World Tier 2, and it felt cheap. It felt my progression from 2 to 3, World Tiers 2 to 3, was cheapened a little bit because of how fast I got there, because of the uniques that I got. The uniques literally carried me from the beginning almost of World Tier 2 when I got them to the beginning of World Tier 3. And now I'm hitting the grind of getting my glyph stones leveled up to 15 and maybe reaching too close to the sun, if you will, with the difficulties that I'm doing. But I should be maxed out in a couple of days. I know. I thought I would have been level 100 already, maxed everything out. I just haven't been playing the game as much. I get bored of it real quick. Like today. Like I played some Path of Exile, did some mapping. After 2 unsuccessful attempts at completing a map because I kept dying, I was like, all right, I just don't have it in me. Let me pop in 4 because, Path of Exile is hardcore and in-depth and super, super complicated. And I love it. I love it. Diablo 4, Barbarian, hold right trigger, spin to win. Barely any thought required. And sometimes I like that too, and that's why I like the 3. Like, it was like mindless. It was like mindless. I didn't need to think hard. And I don't need to really think that hard on Diablo 4, but I don't know. It's just, the world tier bosses in tier 4 are harder. Did go against Avarice, the gold, and actually got to see the stun mechanic of Avarice for the first time in like 8 months. So they have made the boss fights harder in World Tier 4, like they said. They're still not complicated. You're still going to win, but you at least get to see mechanics that most of us haven't seen in a while. Because what happens with Avarice when you get it vulnerable or weakened or stunned, it'll actually drop a loot goblin or 2 that you can kill while he's stunned. So what was happening with me, the rest of the people in this battle were going after Avarice while he was stunned. I was killing the loot goblins for him. So I haven't seen the loot goblins from Avarice in months because the battle, the World Tier 4 world boss fights would be over in 20 seconds. So they did fix it. In tiers 2 and 3, it's still that it's still that problem. You're not going to see the extra mechanics, the stun mechanics and whatnot of the world bosses because they're going to be beaten in like a minute or two. But World Tier 4, you will. And I'm all for it. I appreciate that like you can't believe. But other than that, I've just not noticed anything different. Maybe they're saving it for the expansion, and I don't really want to blame it on the odd-numbered team because, Season 1 sucked. Season 3 was... Seasons 2 and 4 have been fantastic, saved the game, if you will, twice. Season 5, it's not bad. It's just the wave mechanics, it's just boring to me. So yeah, and that's just a personal opinion. That's just my opinion. I know people are loving it, and it's not bad. It's not a bad season. It's just the end game mechanics just are kind of blah to me because they've done it twice already. Like, they've put their dungeon runs in. They put multiple versions of wave-based dungeons, or the. So yeah, it's just not as fun as I thought it would be. That being said, though, will I continue to play Diablo 4 Season 5? Yes. I have not hit the... I've not hit all the season journeys yet. I haven't completed the 90 levels of Battle Pass. And I got the Battle Pass. I get it. I spent $5. This time I spent 10 because I wanted to get the Battle Pass for when the next season comes out. $10 you get X amount of platinum, but you usually get about 700 platinum for having the paid battle pass. So this time it's going to pay for the next 2 seasons of battle passes for me. So that's kind of why I spent the $10 as opposed to 5 every now and again. But that's, I'm going to complete both of those things, and then that's it. I'm not even probably going to get an Uber kill. Lighter version of the podcast this week, where I think I was more focused than me just rambling on about certain things. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Goblin Grenade Podcast on XWW's wrestling YouTube channel. Don't forget, XtremeTVOnline.com, $4.99 a month. First 5 days are free for some of the best wrestling action that you can catch. My name is Dom Douglas, the back-to-back commentator of the year. May your top deck always be mythic.